Why is your replacement missing from the narcissist's social media? You were the narcissist's intimate partner, primary source. You were the spouse, you were the boyfriend, the girlfriend, the cohab, the partner. And then you were disengaged from. The relationship ended. And it was the narcissist that ended the relationship. And you were replaced. And you knew that you had been replaced because people in the family or the neighborhood or your friends told you that the narcissist was seen with somebody else. And they confirmed that this individual was being paraded around as the new boyfriend, girlfriend, etc. of the narcissist. And they have become appointed as the intimate partner primary source, replacing you. Perhaps you escaped the narcissist. If you did, well done. It's a rarer outcome, but it does happen. And it will be increasingly so with the application of my work. You escape the narcissist, and you then learn that the narcissist is with somebody else. That they might have tried to draw you back in. You may have been a recipient of the initial Grand Hoover, follow-up Hoovers, but you resisted. Your no-contact regime was sufficiently solid, as was your will, your resolve, and you avoided being drawn back in. And the narcissist was forced, as a consequence, to go and seek out somebody else who has become your replacement. It might be that you were the intimate partner secondary source, the mistress, and the side piece, the other man, and you knew that the narcissist was with somebody else, that they were married or in a relationship, and that relationship has ended, and then rather than be with you, somebody else has been installed. Or it might be that, as far as you were aware, that the narcissist wasn't with anybody else and was dating, seeing you, and then all of a sudden you find yourself put on the shelf and news reaches you that the narcissist is promenading around town with somebody else, which gives the appearance of this individual being their new boyfriend, girlfriend, etc., and thus the intimate partner primary source. Now, there are instances, of course, where, even though you're aware of this, that the individual is not appearing on the narcissist's social media, and you're left wondering why. In this scenario, there is an intimate partner primary source. That has been confirmed from other information and other evidence. But bear in mind, there will be instances where your replacement doesn't appear on social media because there might actually not be a replacement. And if you want to understand more about those circumstances, please listen to the video, Where is Your Replacement? But in this scenario, you were with the narcissist either as the intimate partner primary source or an intimate partner secondary source, and you've either been disengaged from, or you escaped, or you're on the shelf. And from other sources, you have learned that the narcissist is in a formal relationship with somebody else. There is a new intimate partner primary source, and yet, when you look on the narcissist's social media, there's no mention of this person. What is going on? Well, the first point to make to you is this. Given that you know that you were dealing with a narcissist, why are you looking at the narcissist's social media? This is a breach of no contact. Naughty you. And therefore, you shouldn't be going and looking on the narcissist's social media. I appreciate that you want to know what's going on in the narcissist's life. You want to know more, perhaps a morbid curiosity about who this new person is. You want to know, is the narcissist treating them in the way that they treated me? Are they being taken to the same places? Are they being heralded in the way that I was heralded? And of course, there is a degree of misguided delight if you learn that they're not being heralded and treated as well as you once were. You might want to go and look on the social media, of course, to try and find out that there's trouble in paradise, that the relationship has tanked, a degree of schadenfreude. There are many reasons why you will go and look at the narcissist's social media. None of them are logical. None of them are good reasons. And if you want to try and tell me what those good reasons are, I will always demonstrate that this is a product of emotional thinking and is a breach of no contact. If you go and look at the narcissist's social media, you'll invariably find something that you either don't like, annoys you, or puzzles you. And then that'll lead to you not only suffering an increase in your emotional thinking because you went and looked, but thereafter, you'll dwell on it. You'll talk about it with your friends. You'll seek out additional information. You'll keep going back and looking to see if anything has changed. And you keep breaching your no-contact regime. And then when you wonder, why is it that I can't move on from the narcissist? Go and look in the mirror. It's as a consequence of you falling prey to your emotional thinking by repeatedly breaching your no-contact regime by 1, going and looking at the social media, 2, talking about people as a consequence of what you see there, 3, thinking about it as a consequence of what you see there, 4, quite possibly even communicating with the narcissist as a consequence of what you see there. All of those things are a breach of no contact. And it behoves me, as your tutor, the professor of narcology, the supreme lord of the implementation of no contact, to explain to you that you ought not to be doing those things. Now, with all of that said, of course, you have that nagging itch, I know that you have, to know, how is it then, when I've gone and naughtily looked at the social media, and mea culpa, and I'll stay behind for extra lessons after school, HG, to atone for my awful breach of no contact, but please do at least tell me, why is it when I look at the narcissist social media that I don't find the new intimate partner primary source? There's no mention of her or him. There's no loving, gushing comments about how everything is wonderful. There's no pictures of the two of them together, no pictures of that individual themselves. Why? Why is this being done? Well, there are 2 reasons, fundamentally. The first is the narcissist just doesn't need to do it. The individual that they are with is under sufficient control that the narcissist doesn't need to broadcast the relationship on social media in order to continue the assertion of control over that individual by making them feel loved, adulated, adored, etc. The narcissist is doing all of this in person rather than through social media. Ordinarily, when the narcissist trumpets the arrival of the, oh, she's so amazing, having a great time with him, etc., this is being done not to get at you as the past intimate partner primary source or the shelved intimate partner secondary source. It's being done to control the person that the narcissist is now with, to flatter them, to compliment them, to adore them, to give the appearance of love, even though, of course, the narcissist believes that they do love them. So when there is none of that, the reason that this is occurring is, in part, because the narcissist doesn't need to do it. And because we are creatures of efficiency, we will not do something if it is not necessary to do it. So, having got this person embedded and under control as the intimate partner primary source, the narcissism dictates there's no need to bang on about it on social media. So this doesn't happen. Thus, no mention is made. There's also another side to it, in that it's not that the narcissist is embarrassed about this individual, and even if they might have gone for a panic pick, remember, in the eyes of the narcissist, this person is wonderful because they're painted white, and you, as the traitorous X, remain painted black. And just because that person has a huge nose, the narcissist doesn't see it as a huge nose. It is an imperious nose, a noble nose, a beautiful nose in its own way. Their remission from social media isn't out of any embarrassment on the part of the narcissist. How can it be? This person is fantastic. They're the best thing since sliced bread. They're top of the tree, the apple of the narcissist's eye. No, the reason is that the narcissism doesn't need to parade them, but also detects that by announcing them, it may cause them to come more on your radar. And you, as the traitorous, conniving, disloyal, treacherous X, could then come along and start to threaten the narcissist's control of the intimate partner primary source that's recently been installed. And the narcissism doesn't want to risk that. In the same way that if the narcissist sees you whilst out and about with the new IPPS, he appears to scurry away. This is because you are the enemy. And he doesn't want the enemy interfering with this new, wonderful relationship that he or she has. Thus, The narcissist doesn't announce this person's presence on social media, not because they are any less good than you, not because they don't think that this person is anywhere near as good as you, not because the narcissist is somehow ashamed or embarrassed of them. No, it is because, firstly, the narcissist has no reason to do it, because this person has been secured through other means, namely real-life proximate interactions. Gift buying, complimenting in person, the provision of great sex, looking after this person, taking them places, whatever it might be. Social media isn't required. And it may also be the case that the narcissism decides against broadcasting because there is a risk that this will result in a response from you which would adversely affect the narcissist's ability to control this person. The narcissism doesn't want this golden period being fucked up by you, because you are labelled as the enemy, because you are the traitorous ex, or, even if you're on the shelf, you might be seen as an interfering agent by virtue of there once being intimate relations between you and the narcissist. The narcissist wants to enjoy the golden period. They're with the person who is the one that matters. Everything else that has gone before is in the past and is relevant and is jettisoned, just like you were jettisoned when you were disengaged from, or that you are now cut off because you escaped and therefore you fall into the category of painted black, or even where you're put on the shelf, you're not thought about, and the narcissism doesn't want to run the risk of you reappearing when you start seeing all of these things. Of course, you may well find out about the existence of this intimate partner primary source through other information from other people. But there is a limit to the extent by which the narcissist can control that. Indeed, the narcissist might have said to people, if you happen to see my ex, don't mention about the new girl. But of course, not everybody will comply with that. And it might be that you have people who the narcissist hasn't been able to influence in that way to keep things quiet. For instance, somebody in your camp who works with the narcissist. And the narcissist just has to run the risk. But where the narcissist is able to control, namely, speak to people to say, don't mention anything to the ex about my new girlfriend, and especially with social media, because that's very much within his gift, the narcissism directs him to not publicise the new relationship to avoid the risk of you coming along and causing a problem. Because, of course, the paranoia of the narcissist, as part of that mechanism to assert control, will tell him that that's something that you may well do and it must be avoided. And thus, this is why your replacement will be missing from the narcissist's social media, at least for now, because of course it can change dependent upon other factors. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.